These four are preparing for a massive integration. Ripple, Stellar, Stronghold, and even Jasmy. What are we referring to? Is it just Japan only? Or is it the Southeastern Asian markets? Consider, smash that like if you haven't done so already. You're definitely going to want to see the research that we're presenting and why it matters. Let's get right into it. And again, back with the Brother Rue, virtually speaking. We're hoping to come back to you guys in person, but you're going to have to stay tuned for that. What do I have? Well, for one, is this. And I want to give a shout out to this guy. Always give shout outs to people in the community. It takes literally 5 seconds. What's wrong with people not shouting out people in the community? So what you see here, very crucial for you to understand why we basically get into all of it. Captain X, yes, he could be followed at debunk JELPI. He says, let's go, SBI. Now, this dates back to September 2023, but it's going to create a timeline, a roadmap of, for example, Ripple, Stellar, Stronghold, and Jasmy. So for one, we reference the past to take you to the present. And in this, he points out, by actively incorporating the latest financial technology, such as Ripple's distributed ledger technology, soon will be part of a huge financial shift. All right, that financial shift, the integration, what does he have? Well, as we zoom in, we see this from SBI Remit, and it's about Shonen Shinkin Bank at that time started collaboration with SBI's Remit International Remittance Service. And as you see here, what is going to be highlighted is so crucial for the now, because here it is. And basically, as I zoom in a little bit more, what do you see here? It says our mission is to provide highly convenient financial services centered on home remittances. Don't forget the terms, remittances. I'll have a key focus for you today. To foreign residents, and by actively incorporating the latest financial technology such as Ripple's distributed ledger technology. We are working every day to improve customer convenience, so on and so forth. But again, don't forget, it does say Ripple's distributed ledger technology. Now, watch this. This gets also really good because some people are asking about Stellar. Let's talk about that. Let's address that as well. Blast from the past. At this time, on November 9th, 2022, GMO Trust announced that they were going to be the first regulated Japanese yen stablecoin, and that, of course, was available on Stellar. Now, again, why point some of this out? Well, for one, if you were to go to X, like it says, GYEN, which is for the digital JPY, don't forget about JPY, you'll find out here soon, and ZUSD, digital USD. And like it shows on X, building financial grade digital assets, the world's first, yes, first regulated JPY peg stablecoin issuer. Now keep in mind, Jasmy was the first for Japan when it comes to what they accomplished, right? First regulatory compliant one, okay? Put two and two together here. In the previous outline, I talked a lot about the whole thing of what? I mentioned specifically, ladies and gentlemen, watch out for what Jasmy is doing in Japan and how they're strategically positioning themselves with JPYD. Now, in the highlights for this, you're going to hear a lot about JPYC, but again, you're going to see some things and how it unfolds. Take a little bit more into this before I kick it over to Rue. I want to point out some of the other things. So this article looks at different markets and how they're approaching regulation, testing real-world use cases. Above that, it says in Southeast Asia, stablecoins are moving from concept to practice through regulatory pilots and tax reforms. Another thing I want to point out is when we get further into this outline, in my humble opinion, and you guys know I covered a lot about the regulated liability network, the regulated settlement network. This is Japan's moment. This is Southeast Asia's moment for their testing. And yes, even Jasmy's part of that. Stronghold's part of that. Ripple and Stellar are a part of that. Take you further into this. Watch this. This gets good. Because for one, what you're going to see here is the details. And in the details, it's these highlights. And guess what? We're not just talking about many years ago. We're talking in the now of this month, August 2025. Because in this Medium article, they point out that crypto regulation, updates, and real-world pilots in are happening, I should say, in Southeast Asia. Again, back to what we were talking about and back to this. Regulatory approaches across Southeast Asia. In Singapore, the Monetary Authority tightened its oversight in June 2025 by requiring that all digital asset service providers, think about that, all of those, including those serving only offshore users, are to obtain licenses under the Financial Services and Market Act. Now that's big. And like it also shows here, from June 30th, the regime became fully enforceable. These updates close a previous regulatory gap and required licensed firms to meet strict standards such as local compliance presence. See, what you want, Jasmy puts a lot of focus on even the local compliance. Look at this part about cybersecurity, audits, full real-time attestations. In parallel, look at this, Monetary Authority of Singapore, because that's what the MAS is, piloting tokenized money market infrastructure through Project Guardian Phase 3. I've covered a lot about Project Guardian, myself, Shanny, or at King Shanny. Obviously, there's also Jesse. We talked about some of this stuff in our X Spaces. But this is Phase 3, where DBS, and look at this juggernaut, JP Morgan, are testing tokenized deposits with live capital markets. A formal stablecoin labeling scheme is expected by 2026. Now, before we kick it into more about this and how we tie in Stronghold and Jasmy, I'm going to kick it over to you, Rue, because the way I look at it, there is something going on here. And again, I think the whole thing of tying in Project Guardian Phase 3 means stablecoin adoption, the licenses, the regulations, the whole shebang is coming up here more sooner than people realize.
I myself looked at Project Guardian myself with Swift blockchain. There's a lot there with the MAS, also with companies like XLR, also with companies like Telcoin. XLR is connected into the MLS or MAS. They're connected in with the Project Guardian. So you can find documentation on that if you want to do your own research. Also, Telcoin is connected. They have their own MAS license. So basically, to me and my research, it seems like MAS is like the gateway to BRICS. So for money to exchange between like BRICS and G7, you got to go through MAS. Okay, so this could be kind of huge for all the world, and we know Ripple wants to do remittance payments in the MENA region, in Japan, everywhere. So in order to do that, you're going to need that MAS license. So to me, this just shows that Ripple will be able to transact anything to anything, everywhere.
Well said. Let's get more back into this and why it matters. So we did promise you guys some things about Jasmy and Stronghold. Well, for one, give Mind Crypto a follow. He can be followed over at Mind Crypto _, and that's really him. Okay. He covers things obviously like SHX, Quant. Glad to see he's doing a little bit of Jasmy. All right, check this out. This is good. So he says on August 15th, he says SHX partnership. He says Jasmy/SHX pair. And basically, some of these guys tag me, try to get my attention. I did a report. And in my report, this is what I gathered in my own research. It says, here is what I have gathered so far. I may go deeper with this, or possibly Rue Black, who's here with you, obviously. But definite alignment with Stronghold's recent expansion into Japan. New offices could tie into Jasmy's 2025 roadmap for mass IoT rollout. And like you also see here, it's this, potentially driving transaction volumes. That for me is not just a potential. I totally see that happening. DeFi liquidity. Again, any project that can put in a lot of liquidity, whether it's through the traditional means, DeFi and so on, is a major win. Liquidity means, in my opinion, spikes in the token value, coin value, market cap. So again, token value, like it says here, through the new use cases in a user-owned data economy. I did give a shout out to this guy who's Captain X, okay, who is this gentleman. And like I said, let's jump back, excuse me. Shout out to him for the find. So here's the find. We're going to blow this up a little bit more on the other screen. And as you see here, right, Stronghold, right? So Stronghold Japan. And what's also interesting is some people are like, well, okay, I mean, you could open up an office anywhere. I mean, yes and no, but headquarters are actually for San Francisco, California. So that's Silicon Valley, but for Stronghold and representing Stronghold Japan. And literally on X, they're called @Stronghold Japan. Now, that's not it. Captain X has fantastic research. Again, please give him a follow, help his brand grow and so on. He appreciate it. Interesting, another stablecoin issuer as a potential partner for Stronghold Pay, especially since Stronghold Japan is new to the company. And what we see here is an announcement literally, I guess, yesterday or today, excuse me. I forgot today's the 17th. I was thinking it was the 18th. So by the time you guys get it, right, it'll be the 18th. And what you see here is Japan's FSA. And if you're wondering what that means, that's basically their version of the SEC, will approve the country's first yen stablecoin. JPYC is set to launch as early as this fall. That's going to be like the first, if you will. But it's how Jasmy strategically positioning themselves with JPYD. And I'll show you some trademarks about that and why it's big. But again, Cointelegraph reporting on this and pretty recent as of this morning. Now, is that it? No. Watch this. Take you further into this. Captain X says, let's go, SBI. And again, like I pointed out earlier, it was the whole thing of Ripple. And so we've been there and done that. So we established that. Now back to Jasmy, because you need to see some visuals. Shout out to Neo X Tricks, does it probably better than anybody when it comes to consistent Jasmy research, specifically Jasmy. You could call this guy literally the Jasmy version of Smoke. I think that's a fair analogy, and I say that with all due respect. He can be followed at Bana 817. Again, follow people to provide solid research. Don't just mention research and not give people their flowers. That's a message to everybody that does that. Horrible that they do that. Jasmy JPYD is finally here with the DD Coin. We referenced this in the past, but some people are new. They never seen this. And as we see here, dating back to December 4th, 2024, Hara chimes in. And Hara mentions the release of DD payments. Now, if you're wondering what DD stands for data democratization. Another key thing I think is also worth pointing out is basically in Japan, it could also stand for other things other than just DD. For example, direct debit, okay? But in this case, it's data democratization. I just want to throw that out there because a few banks where they cite DD, again, direct debit. But in my view, it's actually both. As we get further into this, check this out. Hara mentions this application will allow DD points to be used from your smartphone. This time to accommodate the event, an update for commercial use is planned, of course, for January or later. Well, what are they planning to do over there with Jasmy and all this? And as you see here, we take you further into it. And this is from the Apple App Store. And so literally this is live on there. This app is available exclusively to the Apple App Store. People have pointed out the whole thing of potentially Jasmy and Apple, especially when it comes to the My Number card. And I get it. We're not done with that. But look at the visuals. So this is literally called DD Pay. That's Jasmy logo. And you see all these particular screenshots, right? Just real quick on this, DD Payment is a wallet application that uses blockchain tech. If you were to do a search, I'm not going to make a deep dive about this, but if you type in DD Payment, you got to keep in mind so many Japanese banks call it DD Payment, and it means direct deposit, okay? And that's, or direct debit, excuse me. And that's important. I get it. DD for the DD coin is data democratization, but again, think about that. Like sometimes they blind you with the information about data democratization, and we're not even realizing it's really tied to some of these other big things. So this can handle virtual assets. This can handle fan tokens for sports teams, similar to what the Chili's blockchain does. You can manage your points that you've earned. And like it says here, you cannot manage or manipulate Jasmy coins, but scanning QR codes, select points you want to exchange from the wallet, You know, we're trying to get more talk about the super wallet. People are getting kind of, impatient about that, but everything needs to be built and everything needs to be tested. All right. So again, you have an idea about this. All right. There's more about this. So what is DD Coin? Jasmy Management pointed this out. Data democratization coin, Japanese yen, backed by the way, stablecoin, legally equivalent to points. Now you think about that. This is how they benefit their local society, not just with the whole thing of the Jasmy token. Okay, and as I pull up more highlights about this, uh, look at the visual for yourself. I'll blow this up a little bit more. So in the visual, you see a new reward system to promote data utilization. Features granted to individuals rewarding for providing data redeemable for Jasmy coin. And again, Japanese yen backed stable coin. Okay. So again, supports IoT, all these things that we have studied for a while in regard to Jasmy. All right. Now, before I kick it back to Rue for some more, I also want to point this out because this is fundamental to the research. This is from JPYD. What a name. Trademark inquiry. And as you see here, and I've cited this before in another video, so again, I don't need to do a super deep dive again. But Jasmy Co. Limited, and they filed this back in October 10th of 2024. That was application date. And then the registration date was April 8th, 2025 of this year. Trademark, and again, this is JPYD. And how do we know that? Well, for one, you see the picture, but also, excuse me, this is, shown in the other deep dive. So I don't want to do a deep dive about it again, but the bottom line is a registered stablecoin, JPYD, under Jasmy. And just in case you missed that part about Jasmy, it's right here highlighted. So that's major. And the other part I want to highlight in my thesis of how we tie in things like, for example, Stronghold. Watch this. So for one, there's the logo. Well, look what it says here on page 36 about the patent information. For one, you see accepting deposits, including when replaced by bond issuance, and accepting installment savings, lending funds, discounting bills, domestic foreign exchange transactions, debt guarantees, and acceptance of bills, lending, securities, acquiring and transferring monetary claims, safekeeping of securities, precious metals, interesting, and other items, currency exchange, entrustment of financial futures transactions. Actually, everything that we mentioned, me, Smoke, and Jesse, that was in that banned video, number 3, right? Kind of crazy. Underwriting of trust for money, securities, monetary claims, movable property, land, fixtures, service rights, land lease rights. Now watch this. What does it mention in regard to remittances? Handling of remittance procedures, handling of cryptocurrency remittance procedures, issuance of prepaid payment instruments, management of cryptocurrencies, buying and selling cryptocurrency. You get the whole gist. So that to see those highlights about remittance, now you kind of have an idea of, maybe, possibly, Mr. Mine Crypto here is really, really onto something with his findings that we pointed out earlier. I think there really is something here, because that in itself is so major and that in itself is so big, because it tells you how everybody is strategically preparing for a massive integration. And I think the integration is Japanese yen denominated stable coins. And now you see all the big players coming together. Clearly, your Ripple, your Stellar, your Stronghold, and even your Jasmy. Your closing thoughts, Mr. Rue Black.
And definitely check out our video where we kind of introduced this, where I was talking about Stronghold, and we played an older video of Tammy Camps, in which she says, well, you can do New Zealand dollar comes in, and US dollar comes out. So this could be a very integral point in that Stronghold is kind of the regulator, the mediator, what have you, of this transaction of stablecoin translation to stablecoin translation. Like, for example, an Australian dollar comes in, or a New Zealand dollar comes in, US dollar comes out. A yen comes in, a pound comes out. So now connecting Jasmy and a Japanese stable dollar to Stronghold now means The Japanese yen can be converted to any dollar or any stablecoin that Stronghold supports. And then now you put the addition to the payment apps. And I've been telling my community, I think the real end game, especially when we see what's all going on with inflation, is to be able to basically tokenize debt, and tokenize debt as far as like a payday debt or a pay advance debt. People are going to need loans, and with these apps, especially given Jasmy's data locker, you have DID built into them, so you could get a loan almost instantly, right? So now you have this payment app that knows who you are through DID, and you can do a payday loan or any type of asset you have. Remember, Max just listed all the assets that can possibly go on the app: precious metals, debt, 401k, all of that could go into the app. So now you have this app. It knows who you are. It can give you any type of loan you want, any type of stablecoin you want immediately. So honestly, honestly, it's very, very, very it's a great thing for Jasmy. It's a great thing for the Japanese people, and it just further makes me stronger and on Jasmy, on SHX, and the whole XRP XLM ecosystem.
Well said, Rue. So glad to bring you guys this coverage. Glad to be collaborating with Rue once again. Do us a solid if you listen to the entire outline. Simply type in this key phrase into the comments, and that is the big four. And we'll know that you listened to the entire outline. On behalf of myself and Rue Black over at Black Rue, know what you have, know why you hold it. The research trumps flood 110%. We'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.
Peace.
How would you like to earn an extra $100, $200, or even $500 a day, even more than that? I have many friends that are earning money every single day trading futures on BTCC. It's a simple process, and even if you don't want to learn how to trade, you could follow a trader on the site and let him do the trading for you, and you will earn according to his trades. Sometimes I follow All the Money by Q, and his trades earn me money. He has a 93% success rate, and he earns a great percentage. So even if you don't know how to trade, there is a way to make money. But I suggest learn how to trade. Earn you some extra money on BTCC. It's easy, you don't have to KYC, and you don't have to use a virtual private network VPN. This is a wonderful site. They've been around since 2011. Give them a shot. Also, when you earn that extra money, you can store that on your Decent wallet. The Decent wallet was not affected by the recent XRPL debacle, where the backdoor of many wallets was open and there was a breach. So Decent wallet was not affected by that. Decent wallet is as safe as you keep your seed phrase. It's a wonderful product, and you can get the discount by using the link. It's the only way to get the affiliate discount, and that is to use an affiliate link. So that link is popping up on the upper right side of your screen, and it is the one that you will use. You will also get free shipping. Pick you up a Decent wallet today. Secure your assets. If you don't have them stored in a wallet and sitting on an exchange, then you're at risk. So pick you one up today. Thank you.